I'm a data science and artificial intelligence technical trainer. So we have been discussing about how to build agent AI. So we have started with some building with simple agents. So now we are going to start with a multi-tool agent with a ADK. So guys, basically what is ADK? We have discussed with ADK. ADK is nothing but Agent Development Kit. So it is a Google framework usually. So it is a Google framework for building AI agent. So it provides ready-made components like large language model agent, workflow agent, tool calling agent, and then you can able to do web search, file handling, database access, and execution and APIs. And also you can able to do with memory plus reasoning loops. So ADK in general, it is going to help the developers in building the agents that can think, reason, plan, and then act. So this multi-tool agent is an agent actually. So that can use multiple tools automatically depend on the task. So for example, the multi-tool agent may be Python tool to run the code and calculations or data analysis, or to the browser tool to search the webs or open web pages, or the file tool to access and read write the files, or BigQuery tool to run the SQL queries. So code interpreter to execute the scripts, or to custom API tool to call the external APIs. So the agent is going to decide which tool to use based on the user instruction. So which means that an AI agent that can able to build using Google ADK framework that can automatically call and use multiple tools to complete the given task. So that is what it is called, the multi-tool agent. So we are going to build an agent that is a simple basic multi-tool agent that can automatically assign to complete a task. Okay. So in order to deploy this model, I'm going to install this PyNgrok as well as the Google ADK. I'm just installing this package. So basically this PyNgrok is used to deploy your model, which means what you can able to create by to the internet by creating a public URL where you are running an agent server locally. So which means what if you want to access ADK web interface from outside, so you need some public webhook URL. So this URL would be provided by the Pi and Grok website, so that your ADK agent server becomes publicly accessible. So that is possible by the Pi and Grok. So this Google ADK, so for the agent development kits to build like AI agents, Gemini models, tool calling, multi-tool agents, or to to create web interface dashboard using the ADK. So for all these flow, you do require the Google ADK library. Next, for my project, I wanted to create agent project. For that, I need this project structure. So what is the project structure? I need to create multi-tool agent folder. Inside this folder, I do wanted to create init.py initiator, and then agent.py, my Python coding, and then environment to create API key for the Google Gemini API keys. Okay, dot environment file. So all these three different files needs to be created inside the multi-tool agent folder. You see, basically, I don't have any folder over here in my Google Colab. So when I just click onto this folder option, you can see there is no folder here. So right now I'm just going to create a new folder for my multi-tool agent using the make dir multi-tool agent. So when I just undo it, I just executed successfully, right? So I'm just going to do the refresh. If I do the refresh, you can able to see my folder. It's a multi-tool agent folder. If I click onto it, so nothing is there inside right now. You can able to see the difference in the triangular size, shape, actually size, direction. So there is nothing in this folder right now. I'm going to create init.py. So guys, so what am I going to do? I'm just going to create init py. So once executed, you can able to make a notice that there is a file like init.py, which makes this folder as a Python package. So if you don't create this init.py, init constructor, then it treats that it is not a Python package, which means what all the importing statements will not work here. So in order to make it work, we are just initiating using init.py. So to support for the Python packages. Okay. So we confirmed that there is a file have been added here. But if you want to still confirm, if you just click on to cat multi-tool agent, whether it is available inside this package, so it gives you like no dot import agent. So right now you can able to import like no agent inside the Python package. So after confirmation, I'm creating a agent.py. So another Python file for my coding. So we are creating another new file called agent.py inside this multi-tool agent. So if I do the refresh, you see here, it's not available. So I'm going to execute. There is no green color tick here. So right now I'm just going to execute. This is what the syntax to create a agent.py. So when I do the refresh here, so you can able to see the agent.py. So this code will create like no empty Python file. So it creates like no empty file simply. But why do we need it? It is the most important crucial file, this agent.py file, because it is the main agent definition file where you will write like know which models to use, right? So which models to use or know which tools your agent can use or how to handle the request or how to start the server, like all these information. This file is required because the ADK is going to load your agent through this module only, right? So this is the most important file. Yep. Yes. So in this program, agent.py, we are going to give like no main coding where I have implemented like no multi-tool AI agent with a Google ADK, like agent development kit. I'm going to use like no Gemini 2 Flash model. And also why this tool? It's a custom built Python tool, which means there is a specific function such as like no retrieving the weather, providing the current time and performing the calculation, and you can able to summarize the text and then listing the files. So all these tasks can be able to done by this particular model. So how this agent workflow, let us understand the workflow first. So the user is going to send the prompt to the root agent, right? Then the model Gemini 2.5 Flash, it is going to interpret the given prompt and decides whether it can answer directly to the directly or should call the tool. So if the tool is chosen, then ADK calls the Python function with appropriate arguments and return the function dictionary to result to the model. So the model then incorporates the tool and results and produces the final response to the user. So this is going to enable like no LLM reasoning and deterministic function. So let us start with the importing statements. So this it is going to import like no date and time, which is the standardized module for dates and time. So the it is used to build now timestamps also. So next importing statement is the zone info. So using this library, it supports the time zone aware date times. So specific time zone times can be able to return by this particular library. And from next one is the most important library to import like no ADK's agent class. So this is going to be the core builder that will wrap up the available tools and providing agent interface. So finally the OS. So this is to access like file systems and operations. So first, let me start with the defining a simple file system tool agent, which means that it is going to simply list the files or directories as at path, and the default current directory is no dot. Okay, so that is what it is. The default directory is dot, and it is going to return with the status and then files also. So if the files have been successfully added, then it is going to show the success, and also it is going to list the file names. The user it is going to be useful for debugging and letting the agent to inspect the folder content especially. So the next tool is the calculator tool, where the evaluate function right? So this eval function, it is executes like arbitrary code where the agent receives the input, okay, from the user, and this system can run the system commands and reads the file, and this can able to handle like no Python expression, arbitrary Python expression. So this to evaluate. So and this also going to return with the status as well as with the result, whether it is a successfully executed this expression, and it is going to return the result. So basically it performs like no mathematical computation with a self literal evaluation, like SymPy, NumPy, so small expression parser. If you need only math, okay, it is going to make use of like math evaluator also. So next one is to summarize the text. Okay, this summarize the text. It is a lightweight. You see here, it is a lightweight placeholder like summarizer that is going to return with the first 100 characters of the input followed by the triple dots. Which means what? This is not like, so it's going to return like no summarizer. See, you can make the model to generally access for all the locations, okay? But here, the get current time tool is especially designed to get the current city time. So what I have just, being very specific, I've just, asked my model to return only for the New York. And also the time zone identifier, also the America and the New York. So only these two cities, my model is going to return with an answer, right? If these two cities are not going to be the user input, then it might return like no state as an error message. So I don't have time information city to, so to make it more specific response by your model, I'm just making, I'm just indicating my model to be very specific with this time zone, with this no zone limit. Otherwise my model is capable of giving the general zones, in all the zones in all the current time, it can have a ability to give the result. So my model is going to return with the current time in city. What is the city? I'm just providing it here. Instead of this, if you don't want to, if you want your model to accept any locations, you can skip this, especially this condition. So you can get the input from your user directly and you can pass it as an argument. So next one, final thing is the most important. So this agent I have especially designed for weather time agent. So the main focus is for weather time agent, which means I'm using this Gemini 2.0 Flash LLM models, large language models. So the Gemini family in the Google ADK, and this model interpret the user prompt and plan the action and call the tools especially. So this model will use the interpret the user in user prompt, and it is going to plan the action and it is going to call the tools, and to make sure appropriate credentials, that the model name is supported where you can run the agent, okay, like Google API, you do require. So this description, actually it is going to be used by agent orchestration tooling for planning purpose. It is going to helpful for the UI developers for debugging and sometimes, and it is for the agent purpose. Okay, it is a short description. So next, through the instruction, I'm just specifying the prompt. My prompt is, you are a helpful agent who can answer the user questions about the time, weather in a city, right? So it is going to guide the agent to act as a helpful assistant for the time and weather queries. Especially this model has been built for weather and then time, and you can also able to access the file, calculate and summarize. These are some of the additional information just I just added up. So let me execute this file. So I have executed it successfully. So you can, I have already done it. So that's why it is overwriting. Can you able to see here? So here init.py and agent.py have been updated. So my agent is ready. A simple agent is ready for the multitool agent. So right now I just wanted to create like no environment. For this environment, I'm just going to execute. Here you see, I'm just executing this environment, right? To create like no .env file. I'm also going to, actually using like no saving my file API keys, and also I'm just specifying vertex AI is false, which means what, by default it is not allowing the vertex AI to use inside the Google Colab. It is going to use like no Google generative AI API, what I just specified here. Okay, Google API key. So once if it is done, you can able to, yeah, the environment variable will not be shown there. And finally, I'm going to deploy this model. So before deploying, I just wanted to run locally to my machine using like ADK run multitool agent. I'm just executing this file. I'm just running locally. It is requesting the user input. So what am I going to do? What can you do? I'm just asking my LLM model. So it is showing like, no, I can tell you the current weather and time in a city. I can also list the files and use the calculation and summarize the text. So all these tasks it can able to do it. So right now I'm asking my model to, since I have given some condition inside my coding, so I'm just asking specifically what time is in New York. So the current time is in New York and it is showing with along with the date and time, right? Date and time it shows. Right now I'm going to ask like some other city, some other country. I'm just asking. So so my model is not returning the time with the it is asking like India has like multiple time zones. Could you please specify the city in India? Even if you specify the city in India, the model will not return the output because we have restricted the model to not to give like no time zone information for other countries other than this New York. So can you able to see what is the reply it has given? Only for New York, my model will able to respond. So we can able to condition our model based on the requirement. So also I'm just asking my model to summarize, okay, explain or summarize or AI. Here, I've just used with the two tools, okay? Get weather city and then get current time. So as I specified, it is going to execute only for the current New York City and then this one. So I've just executed successfully. So I'm going to run my ADK tool, okay, right now. So I'm going to allow my model to like now get weather New York. So it gives my New York weather. The weather in New York is sunny temperature, so 25 degrees Celsius of Fahrenheit. I can also ask my weather to get like no current time. New York. So my current time is in New York is this is what the current time. Why am I giving New York? Because I've just made my model in the agent. I just specifically asked my model to return only with these identifiers. So if I'm going to give any other location other than this, then my model will generate an error. Show it with you. So get weather India. So I can't get the weather of the country. Please specify the city in India. Even if you just specify the city in India and the model is not having ability because we have restricted a model to display only for the current specific this one. But this Gemini 2.5 is a flash model. It has an ability to do a many tasks. For example, if I just want my model to explain like no artificial intelligence. So this is the model capability. So that we have not restricted the other model's capability. Oh my God. Okay, according to this model, my capabilities are like weather and time agent. And so it is limited for providing the time and city alone. This is what is called the multi-tool agent model. So this current model, it's mainly restricting, okay, with these capabilities. Why? Because of the prompt. So it is restricting, it is not explaining, which means it is not using its general capability of the model. So because I have just given instructed my model to use only between what? This allow. So what am I going to make it? So I'm just going to allow my model to use the instruction. I'm going to model my um, with a prompt, like you are a smart general purpose AI agent, so you can answer any type of the question of general model, and you can use the tools. So I have specified like two tools here, time and weather for the specific city. So it is going to execute the time and weather only for the specific city, and also it can use its own intelligence to respond to any of the user query. So once when I execute this model, you see here, I'm going to again run my ADK multitool agent. So that is what the power of the prompt. You see here, I'm just going to give right now. Um, explain AI. So right now my model has the ability to use its general purpose response because of the prompting. I just made only changes with only with the prompting, and also I'm just going to get current time in India, Chennai, India. I'm sorry, I don't have the time zone information for Chennai, but I'm just going to give like current because I've just implemented this tool only specific for my New York. So this is what the tool I'm using for my specific purpose. So are you getting it? So right now I'm going to deploy this model using the front end, right? So for this one, I'm going to using like no uh, Pi ngrok. For this one, you need to go to its website. Yesterday we discussed to create like no authentic token. If you just go to the website of ngrok website, you want to create like your username password. So with that, it will provide you the API key for like no authentication token key to use like no Pi ngrok to upload your model deployment in the user websites.